Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Roselli Show. I'm excited to welcome to the program, Rob Roselli. Rob, how are you? Excited to chat with you today. And I tell you what, are you washing your hands? You don't want to
Washing
get
my
this.
hands.
You don't want to end up getting this virus.
The coronavirus. Yeah, I tell you what. I mean, we covered this the Un-American Genocidal Complex. It was 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it looks like we're going to be returning to it for a good part of today's show. Let's just get right to the point. We don't have a lot of time to talk here, but I don't want to say rumors, but it seems like more and more people are coming out, even a sitting United States senator, saying that this coronavirus, it's not natural. It didn't pop out of some fish market in Wuhan province or wherever they're saying in China. And when I read the stories, I mean, the parallels to the mysterious HIV or AIDS virus. Okay, AIDS was just a subset of HIV, but anyway, the parallels and the characteristics are striking. Which I document in my book, The Un-American Genocidal Complex. If you read that, what went on with the AIDS virus and what's going on here with the lies and in terms of the AIDS virus, they're saying with some green monkey bit some African on the butt or something in the middle of a jungle, and all of a sudden, whammo, you had AIDS all over Africa, and at the same exact time, pretty much, you had AIDS in the specific homosexual population in 5 specific cities here in the United States. So the epidemiology made no sense. I'm talking about AIDS, okay, and
Right.
its source, and I did all the research, okay, and it made no sense. What the government, the quote government, the World Health Organization, all these lying organizations, and I mean the United States government, weapons of mass destruction, United States government also, which just wasn't true, and it did not take a tremendous amount of research to come to that conclusion, okay, because the media and everybody was saying, oh, it was a green monkey, it was in Africa. But when I did my research,
Yeah.
and look, and I'm not, again, I'm going to say it again, I'm no brain surgeon, civil engineering. Took microbiology as a part of my undergraduate program. And anyway, I went and I did some research, and nothing in the scientific research, and I'm just talking normal scientific journals, Lancet, Science, Journal of the American Medical Association. I went to all these sources,
Right.
and they were all saying that the AIDS, the family of viruses, known as HIV, came from a combination of sheep Visna virus, what was called, and bovine leukemia virus. Okay, and I think it was it was T cell leukemia virus. It was HTLV 1 through 5. And there were different combinations of sheep and bovine viruses. I mean, for all intents and purposes, we don't have a lot of time to go through it. But anyway, the point is that there's no way the genetic markers did not come from a green monkey. Okay, and I'm no expert microbiologist, but you don't have to be to read through this stuff. But anyway, transpose that to today and what's going on with this coronavirus, and it's the same exact thing. And in fact, I've been reading a couple of different stories. Of course, you don't get this on the mainstream news. You're not going to hear this on Fox and the other so-called mainstream news. But if you go and you do a little bit of research, and Zero Hedge, I think, is one of them, and he usually does very good economic articles, but apparently got banned for Twitter for daring to say that there was many genetic markers from the HIV virus in this coronavirus. So the point is that somebody's I don't want to use the word playing around, because we're not really playing. We're talking about mass death, but somebody is manipulating viruses in the lab once again, and this got out, whether it's accidentally or on purpose. My conclusion was the AIDS virus was distributed on purpose for the effect of genocide and population control. Per the Georgia Guidestone, shown on the front cover of the Un-American Genocidal Complex,
Right.
brought to us by Robert Christian, who's just so happens to align with the beast of Revelation 13. But I know I just said a lot in a mouthful. But anyway, let's back to the point. This is all covered in the Un-American Genocidal Complex, by the way. But anyway, the point is, it's the same exact pattern. It's the same exact lines of crap. Okay. And in this case, it's the same genetic sequence, that we saw in the HIV virus that we're seeing in this coronavirus.
That's crazy,
so
man. It's crazy.
This is getting out of hand, and this is why I'm saying, again, just getting back to who's behind this. This is why I have very little patience at times maybe it appears I'm being a little too harsh on many of these prophets of God, these so-called Christian pastors and their comic book antichrist and all this other kind of nonsense. This is a lot more serious. Okay, when you start talking about the distribution and the production of genetically altered and created viruses that are made to adapt, that are adapted to humans. Okay, these are animal viruses, and it's rare. It's not unheard of, but it's rare that animal viruses, jump from species. Viruses are generally host specific. Of course, there are exceptions, rabies virus and this sort of thing, and that's fine. But again, in the case of AIDS, there was never a situation where you had cow and sheep viruses and humans, and all of a sudden, boom, whammo, you had 5 different varieties all happening at the same time with epidemiology. Made no sense. And now there's some connections between that and this current coronavirus. So, again, the people behind this, and the person, again, the mysterious Robert Christian, they're just much more, it's much more evil. It's much more pervasive. It's much more real than some comic book antichrist, running around, some temple in Jerusalem.
Exactly.
Zapping people with lightning bolts and, sticking their foreheads with, microchips and all this sort of thing. And I'm not saying, there's going to be some kind of economic collapse as part of this, but it's a very minor part of the big picture. This is evil. Okay. This is evil, like literally on a biblical scale. Okay. So when I say the un-American genocidal complex, it's not meant to be taken lightly. It's not meant as a joke. It's not meant to be taken figuratively. I mean, the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the CDC, and many world governments are in on this. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, okay, and I'm reading in several articles, they have patents on viruses and it's all kinds of stuff you can do research on, patents on vaccines to these viruses, and all of a sudden these viruses start popping out and killing people. And people go, oh, that's crazy, that'll never happen, and how can that's possible, and conspiracy theorists and all this. And my response to that is, let's just start with the abortion movement, okay, in this nation. Okay, we're north of 60 million babies, okay, and in the case of Virginia, the state of Virginia and the state of New York, now live babies. It's okay for live babies if the mother decides, well, to take it out and let's let it die on its own. That is now acceptable, and in fact, a quote right here in these very United States. So you can't say that the mindset to produce and disseminate something like this is not there, and there's no argument that technology to be doing this and screwing around these viruses has been around for my research almost 50 years, okay, going back to the 1960s,
right,
and
right.
polio vaccine and all that. And again, that's covered in the Un-American Genocidal Complex, which, by the way, is fully footnoted, and there's bibliography in there, and there's government documents, okay, in the appendix of that, the one from 1994. And basically, the Department of Defense admits that they've been experimenting on American people during World War II and the Cold War. And they openly say it in the document, which is in the book. They don't know the extent of these experiments. They don't know how many people were harmed and how they were harmed. And this is government records. Okay, I'm not just pulling this stuff
right.
out
No,
of
I
thin
know.
air.
I hear you. I mean, this is and then interesting to talk about this. So, what about this virus now? You definitely don't. You think this is a man-made virus?
Well, there's a preponderance of evidence out there that's saying yes. There's no way the genetic markers and the similarities to other viruses and the epidemiology.
How dangerous do you think it is?
That I don't know, and I don't profess to be an epidemiologist or microbiologist, but if the news reports that are able to make it out of China are anywhere near accurate, it's very contagious and very lethal. All right, and it's and trying to contain it as apparently seems to be so far a losing effort. Okay, now I'm not guaranteeing, or I'm not saying that this is going to be it. This is the next Black Plague, but the pattern is there, and who knows? Once you go deep enough into the rabbit hole, and I'll go into the rabbit hole to an extent, but at some point you're in an abyss. It's like trying to solve the Kennedy assassination or something. You get to a point where it's just like, all right, I've gone far enough. I have enough evidence for my conclusions. Let me come back out I guess spread the light of the gospel, because people better start figuring this out sooner rather than later, because there's all kinds of information flowing out there. Okay, hypothetical situations, logical conclusions that, the timing of this, and tying it in with, the establishment or the un-American genocidal complex are trying to get rid of one Donald John Trump from the office of the presidency. And they're failing quite miserably. As we've discussed, remember on past shows, we talked about Job chapter 12, and how I read that chapter over and over. I mean, we had that show on months ago, but and how I told you that I'm positive that the idiots pursuing Donald Trump are as stupid and incompetent and as nervous as they seem. When Nancy Pelosi gets up there and stutters and this and that, and it just looks like a total buffoon in front of 200 million people. It's not an accident, okay?
Right.
What I'm saying is that effort to get rid of Trump, the quote legitimate way, or some has apparently failed, and I'm talking hypothetical. This is purely speculation on my part, and reading other articles and stuff, is that now they've taken it up a notch, and now if this virus gets bad enough, or even nearly bad enough, they start talking about medical martial law and overriding.
Oh geez, oh no, oh my gosh,
and this sort of thing. Plus, don't forget mass death. Okay, the Georgia Guidestones. All right, and the people talking about clearing the earth of 90% of its population, which is in stone. It's literally etched in stone, by the way. Which you really read the Bible, parentheses is really the mark of the beast. When you should go back and you read through Strong's Concordance and do the research. The mark of the beast is, again, it's much more than some silly microchip, with 666, stamped in people's foreheads. But anyway, if you go read the Georgia Guidestones, it talks about reducing the world's population by 90%. The Georgia Guidestones, whose date just so happens to be March 22nd, 1980, or 322, it's the 322 of Skull and Bones, Skull and Bones Society, which just so happens to be the most powerful organization in the United States, if not the world, as it includes presidents, major corporations, the United Nations, and whatnot, in its alumni. It all kind of comes together at a point. Okay, so what I'm saying is that this bunch, the shadow government, even Fox News now calls the deep state. I think they've taken it up a level, and you got medical martial law. Again, you got the population reduction of the earth by several billion people, and people think that's I'm being overreactionary. I mean, just look at history. Look at Mao. Look at Stalin. Look at Hitler.
Exactly. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and we'll see what happens. If this was the way they had to step it up to eliminate our freedom, you predicted it, Rob, first here on the Rob Roselli Show, that this was going to happen in your books, and it came true based on this. And we'll find out.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not. I don't want to be very careful. I mean, I don't know exactly how, but certainly the pattern I've documented, and again in the Un-American Genocidal Complex, and I am, just based on Revelation 17 and 18, and attack on the United States. I could not really see exactly what that would be. I still think there's a very quick EMP or nuclear strike in our future. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but who's to say with China and the trade war? Who's to say if this isn't on purpose? I don't know. Okay, again, you can only go so far down the rabbit hole. All I know is this is not natural. There's a lot more going on here, and I suggest people figure this out sooner rather than later. You can take trust in your leaders, okay, your so-called leaders, who in many cases are literal devil worshippers. And I'm not saying that to be funny, or I'm saying that literally, okay, and that's documented in section 3 of my first book, They Live, on my site. But anyway, or you can take solace in the King James Bible with the creator.
All right. Well, awesome.
Universe.
So boxofsunglasses.com for more information. Great topic today, Rob. Come up with some of that stuff again, because you've heard it here first here on the Rob Roselli Show. This is a man-made virus. All right. Take care, Rob. I appreciate it.
That's all the evidence, Neil. Thanks again. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Rob.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. That was Rob Roselli Show, everyone.